Lions in action, heart and more, changing lives from shore to shore.
Welcome to Behind the Roar, where we go beyond the titles, beyond the meetings, and into the real stories of service and leadership that make Lions truly impactful. I'm your host, Lion Zach Wosmek.
Come on in where service soars, behind the roar, behind the roar, where leaders rise and hearts explode, behind the roar, behind the roar.
So this is something that I've been wanting to bring to life for a while now. And I couldn't think of a better way to start the conversation we're about to have here today. This is our very first episode. I'm really excited to be joined by someone who I had the chance to serve alongside this past year, someone who has stepped into the role incoming as council chair, someone I'm grateful to be able to call a friend, our current district governor of District 5M4, and our council chair-elect, Susan Krumrey. Susan, welcome to Behind the Roar.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Awesome. It's going to be a fun time. I'm really glad we're getting to do this. I think this is going to be something that is actually a really fun way to talk about the year that we had rather than just reporting on what we did.
Right.
So
I
we'll
agree.
start off very simple. So when you think back to the beginning of the year, what would you say that stands out most to you?
I think it is the fact that it has gone so fast. But with that being said, I have really enjoyed this time. I think personally, I've gained a lot of confidence and leadership skills, and
Mhm.
I've really liked meeting new people. It's just been a really fun journey.
Yeah, no, I think that was for me myself too. Uh, you sit and think about what it is that you want to do, and you prepare for these last 2 years as vice, and then
Right.
those felt like you're like, yeah, felt like a full year. This felt like a blink. So it did. It
I
flew
totally
by.
agree. But I didn't realize. I guess maybe I should have realized it. I didn't think about the impact that the
Mhm.
role makes on so many other people. And which is probably good because I maybe would have felt more pressure then.
Mhm. Yeah.
But with all the training that we got and just knowing what you're talking about, it gives you so much confidence. And so it was good to be a
Mhm.
leader. I really enjoyed the role.
Yeah. I would completely agree that we were lucky in that respect too. I said I kind of was sad for our district governor elects that they didn't get to enjoy the Q Center like we did. But from the sounds of what they've been saying, is that this new online platform that they're doing is pretty awesome and it's pretty extensive. So I'm glad that they're still getting that good training that we got. And it definitely made you feel more ready to take on the role than I had felt like even going into my like first vice year when we started to do the DGE training. That
Yeah,
was phenomenal training. And
right.
yeah, that's awesome. Would you say that there was anything really that surprised you about your district governor year?
Um, Maybe how time consuming it was. I can remember saying a few times to myself, I can't believe people do this and have a full-time job.
That's
But with
fair.
that being said, I don't say that to too many people because I don't wanna scare people off of being district governor, so maybe this portion of the clip should hit the floor.
Well, no,
But
and that's I think but it's important for people to know because so many people do go into this and they're like, what takes up what's the biggest thing? Like, is it the money that reimbursement, all that stuff? And I said the same thing. I said, just know that your time's not your own for the better part of a year. Like you're spending a lot of your time doing this. But
right.
it in my opinion though too, because you say that and it might scare some people, but at the same time, I never felt like there was a point where it wasn't important. It felt very much like we were doing stuff that was important that needed to get done.
Absolutely, and, um, the reward out of it or,
Mhm.
the personal gain maybe sounds selfish to say that way, but there's so much better about it than how time consuming it was. You know, everybody's different, so maybe it is what you make it.
Well, I would agree because I had that too, where people would tell me that Yeah, I just don't have the time for that. Well, it's what you make of it. So if you choose to come in with that mindset that you have that you're here for the betterment of Lions, for the betterment of our multiple of our districts, then it does. And two, the what you gain out of it as far as experience and just the I would say good feels like what
Right.
it's doing to help people
For sure.
is phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
S-
I wouldn't tell somebody to shy away from it that is
No.
working by any means
Mhm.
because it's a really, really great experience.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm a worker. I work full I still work full time. Granted, I did it differently. I made sure I was working overnight so that I could be.
Right.
So, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would I guess the next one is a good one. So every year has its challenges. What was something that really pushed you or stretched you this year?
Technology, maybe, working on
That's fair.
that. And I actually put a PowerPoint together. I was pretty proud of it. And so that, but I'm not really sure. I can't say that I felt like something was a challenge. I mean, the whole thing is a challenge, right? Mission
Yeah.
1.5 and all that. But
Mhm.
the workflow of it all was good. There's
Yeah.
teams behind you that and people have to understand that. Everybody has their job and, um, you can manage those jobs, but you don't need to micromanage those jobs.
No.
People that are in those places are doing they're working just as hard as you are. You're out there, you're the face of the district, and they're the ones that are kind of getting down to the nitty-gritty. So, I
No,
I wouldn't
I
say
agree.
anything held me back a lot.
Good. Well, and that's honestly like I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's very important to making sure that you're empowering the people that you've put into those positions on your cabinet because realistically, yes, if we're watching every single micromanage movement that they're doing, it doesn't give embolden them to do things that are hopefully going to help the district. We put them in those positions so that they can run with it, and we're there as their resource to help them. But that's an awesome way of saying it. I 100% agree. I would say too, it is. That's to your first point. Is technology is such a for some people it is a barrier, and so starting to give those opportunities where people can see, how to use technology and marry that together with Lionism is really cool. Especially a big point out for you when you were in your first vice year that I think worked really well for you guys over there in 5 and 4 was I got 'cause I was fortunate enough to be at your convention that year and you guys did your, what was it called again? You can tell me the, speed
Speed
learning, and
learning.
that was phenomenal. So getting to see, those different aspects because a lot of that was all tech involved, and so seeing people learn how those things work, especially lions that we'll call them seasoned lions,
Yeah.
we're able to really walk away with something new and have a new skill set, which was really cool.
Yeah, everybody that is totally. One thing that I absolutely love is the fact that everybody says, steal my ideas, or,
Mhm.
we all learn from each other. Nobody cares if you use their picture because it was their picture. Or, I
Yep.
mean, the organization as a whole working together to care about even the one club down in 5M4. Wherever
Mhm.
the information is coming from, everybody is so much cares about the success of everybody else. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. The
Yeah.
success of everyone is on everyone's shoulder. And
Yeah.
I think within our district governor group,
Yeah.
the years of working with everybody, it really is a family, and it's friendships
Mhm.
that you will have forever.
Oh, 100%. I definitely think that was I mean, we've had some of us have had grandkids. I'm not old enough for that yet,
Right.
but but some of us have had life events that have happened. So much stuff has happened and to get to be there and be with the people in that moment when we learn about these things has been it does. It feels like family. It feels like you're coming home in a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
The other thing that I think about as I think about challenges and the fact that I can say that I haven't had a lot is because there are so many people that have gone ahead of me that want me to succeed too, or want you to succeed. We want this
Mhm.
next incoming district governor group to succeed. Everybody is there for you. So if there is a question or if there's something you're worried about, you just absolutely need to ask the question because everyone will be right there for you.
Well, exactly. Nobody wants to see us fail. That the success of a
Right.
district governor really is the success of the district. I said all year long, we are cheerleaders for our district.
For sure. Yep.
Which is a great point too of making, and obviously we'll get more into the role you're about to take on. But I know you are very fortunate as well in the respect of 5 and 4 has had, in my opinion, some of the best council chairs, and so to be able to have people like Rob Weiner to fall back on is phenomenal.
Right. I got
And
Rob,
Dennis
I got
Heinen, we can't
Dennis.
forget him.
I know, Dennis, and, actually, even during my time as district governor, we all
Yep.
know Brian, and
Oh, Brian.
just
Oh yeah.
Brian is really just Brian. All
Oh yeah.
I was worried about something, and I texted him and said, "Do you have a couple minutes?" And he said, "I'm busy. Can I call you back?" And I said, "Absolutely," because we all know Brian's schedule. It's super busy. But
Oh yeah.
just to I didn't want 10 different opinions. I just wanted to know what I could do and what I couldn't do in a situation. And
That's
so
fair.
go to the top. I mean, I didn't feel bad calling him. And I knew that he would help me
No, and he
through it and
makes
I
it.
moved on. So it doesn't matter who you are asking a question to. Everybody is in your corner.
And that's one of the best things I think I learned very quickly about Brian, and he's his willingness to help everybody. And,
I
just
know.
because well, we'll say it here because not everybody that listens to this will know who Brian is, but we'll say so Brian Sheen is our past international president. So he was at the very, very top. And but he's one of those leaders that title isn't like Lion is what he goes by or just Brian. And he is one of those people that it doesn't matter what's going on, what level of lion you are, he wants to be there to help you and he's in your corner. So that is, yeah, it's phenomenal to have a leader like that. Of course,
Right.
I always forget that he's 5 and 4 because all I know him by is Lion Brian from Bird Island. And
Where the hell is Bird Island?
there you go. We had to get that in there.
Right. Bird Island is only 2 towns down from Buffalo Lake.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So, was there a moment this year where it really hit you that this is why we do what we do in Lions?
I think the broader scope of lions, like, digging into the foundations a little bit more or
Mhm.
watching the videos of some of the service projects that are done, where I don't have the opportunity to go help little turtles get to the sea, you know? So,
Yeah. No, that's
just
awesome.
broadening your horizons and getting a bigger global scope of what goes
Mhm.
on and um the different needs that are out there is uh
Mhm.
really something to take in. Because when you're from uh, I won't even say maybe the Midwest, when you're from a small town, and I've been fortunate enough to travel internationally, and so I've seen
Mhm.
a lot, but there's still so much out there that I haven't seen, and it's awesome to be able to connect on a platform that is globally and to see what else is out there, the needs, because we know the needs in our backyard. We don't necessarily know the needs of our neighbors, even maybe, or
Mhm.
on a bigger lion scope across the world. That I've really I've loved watching that and watching the YouTube videos and being a part of something great, cheering them on because I'm not there.
Exactly. Well, and that was, I think, one of the coolest experiences, especially like because the DGEs will still get it. They're gonna be going to Hong Kong, and they're gonna get
Yeah.
to see the people from around the world. And I know for us, and that was a big influential moment for myself was us going over to the Q Center and getting to meet those people from around the world and get to interact with them and really become friends with them. And in that, like you talked about, seeing a different culture, seeing how things work in a different country, especially knowing that the issues that we come up with that we have here in just here in Minnesota are not just Minnesota issues, they're global issues. They're stuff that people feel around the world. And so that was really exciting to be a part of that and see, globally what we're doing. But even like when you say, obviously most of us come from small towns here in Minnesota. I think that makes up most of Minnesota unless you're in Minneapolis area.
Right.
We One of the most impactful moments for myself, like you said, foundations are huge. And so it was very exciting, something that you don't always get to have as just a regular member. You could do it, but it's planned for us in our training to be able to go and see these foundations, go to the foundation trainings and visit the different foundations. And so for me, that was extremely influential is to be able to go and see Can Do Canine, see the amazing work that they do for the like
Right.
during our visit. They did they had the they for people that don't know, Can Do Canines does they take care of assist dogs. So whether you have autism, whether you have a vision impairment, if you have a hearing impairment, if you have diabetes, there's so many different avenues of people that they help.
Anxiety.
Anxiety, yes, they have so many different avenues that we help with, and we were fortunate enough to be there and actually see one that was being worked on for somebody who had mobility issues, and she also had somewhat of a speech impediment and they were actually it was so cool to see that they even tailored specifically to her, so they had her voice asking for the commands, because her commands sound was a little bit different. They played that recording every time so that he learned her voice as opposed to hearing, a regular person's
The
command and then
training.
going to her and being confused. So,
Right.
to see them even work on that individualized level was pretty incredible.
Right. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
the experiences that we've gotten and the knowledge that has come out of it is amazing.
I
I
agree.
feel so grateful to be in the position that I'm in because I think that I've gotten so much more out of this than what I could ever give, and I feel really blessed.
It's an experience that you'll never get unless you take on something a little bit higher, that leadership role. Because I mean, there's definitely those opportunities where, okay, I should say, your spouse could, and then you could join along for the ride. It's
Right.
a much different experience becoming, and being a district governor and taking on that role and getting to have those experiences. And so I 100%, like I said, there's commitments, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't have traded it for the world for what we had.
Oh, me either. Me either.
So was there a club project or maybe even a person that really stood out to you this year?
Well, I was thinking about that. I think something that just the connections. We do have a person in our district that has a leader dog. So
Mhm.
it it was fun or interesting, however, to be able to see that full circle since we got to go to Michigan and see how the dogs were trained and now to see that dog actually in action is quite
That's awesome.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but all the stories and the service projects that the different clubs do, they all have great meaning for their communities, which is awesome. So I don't know that I would say that one really stuck out better than the other because they all are important. I
That's awesome.
I do have to
Well
say,
said.
though, that at our midwinter convention, we collected stuff for, childhood cancer to
Yep.
be distributed at the Masonic Children's Hospital and also at the Ronald McDonald Houses, and man, did people come through for that. We had to keep going and getting another table. Oh my goodness, we need another table. Where are we gonna find
Wow.
another table? It was so
It's a good
much,
problem to
and it
have.
was so good. Right. And, I knew
That's
about the
awesome.
Lego thing, and, so that was really fun to see, and when we did the tour, well, our district governor group didn't get to do the tour at the Masonic Children's Hospital because we actually had a snowstorm that last year. But the snowstorm this year held off 2 days, so we got to go to the Masonic, Children's Hospital, and, um, that I was in that childhood cancer era back in 2007, 2008, and going through that process as a part of the family and now knowing or seeing, what they have and how that's evolved almost 20 years later, I think that is the biggest impact through the foundations that I've had because I've seen the cornea and the vision and the gift of sight, and, I listen to the researchers for the diabetic population, and all that stuff is amazing and absolutely great in its own right. But when you have a connection to a foundation and then you get to see it and it's just so amazing. I was just so proud of the work that they're doing now and how it's evolved because it wasn't like that back then. And so these
Yeah.
families and these kids, I don't know, they're in the spot that they're in, and so that's kind of crappy, but to make it be so much better for them, there's a lot of compassion out there and a lot of money that flows that way to be able to
Mhm.
do what they can do for those kids, not just medically, but mentally and socially.
Mhm.
So I I think that one had the biggest impact for me.
Oh, that's phenomenal to hear. Because yeah, it does, especially when it's something where it touches your heart and you get to see that come full circle. And to me, anything we do amazing things for everyone, but especially when you get to see it touch a kid where they're in such a, a sad predicament and that we're able to hit them in that way and really help that longevity, help their their mental, well, really their sanity at that point. Because obviously you're going through so
Right.
much. So be able to see us, to be able to touch them in that way is phenomenal. It's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. They have so many great spaces
Mhm. They do.
for the kids and the families to go to, where back in the day, it was your room.
Yep.
I can
You just sit
just
in a room.
remember going and visiting, and you just kinda stayed in the room. The kids' room that they had was really for the younger ones, and, there was no getting out of there. I can still hear the babies crying, and there
Mhm.
was just nowhere to go, and now you can go downstairs in your own space and go in a gym or, sit in that amazing chapel or
Mhm.
go in the Caribou Coffee place, and I don't know. It's a great
It's pretty
space
awesome.
if you have to be there.
Yeah, but it does. It at least gives them that feeling of normalcy while they're in the midst
Right.
of all of that. So,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
for
important.
sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so now as you have gone through this year and we're getting closer to the close of our year, how do you think that it has changed you as a leader?
I would say I'm a little bit smarter,
I feel that.
but I feel like I've always considered myself blessed in anything that I've had. And I just think that has blossomed enormously because of all of the great experiences that I've gotten. And and I've learned, like I said, I've traveled before, so I know it, but I've learned that the world is a much bigger place than
Oh yeah.
I ever knew. Just by the experiences that I've had, by the opportunities to go along virtually with others on their trips. You know, Lori keeps us so in tune to everything that they're up to and the great
Yep.
things that they get to do. It's like, "Oh my gosh, I don't think I would ever travel there." And then you see where they're at, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, I really wanna travel there."
Yep. No, it's
So,
pretty incredible. It does.
yeah.
It's not something you'd ever think that you get to see, and then you see it and you're like, wow, that actually sounds really fun.
I know. I know. So I think just that it just makes your vision a little bit bigger. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I would say for myself, as far as like where I said I really felt like I changed as a leader, was I had, um, like I knew about like, constitution, bylaws, things like that, like some of the resources that we had, but
Yeah.
really, um, I felt that my district actually was good at challenging me to make sure that I knew those things. So, because there was several times where, questions would come up, things would happen within the district. You had so much stuff where people needed that knowledge base. And so it was really good for me to be able to go back to those resources, see what they were. And I did. It was really fun for me, especially talking to a mentor of mine, Vince Seal, who's a past district governor, having him say, he says, I wasn't quite sure at the beginning of the year, he says, but oh my goodness, he says, yep, you've learned quite a bit and you were always, one to be able to find the answer. And I said, that's a big compliment to me because I definitely it does. It feels good to know that I grew in some way because that's you're not growing, you're dying, everybody says, and it is.
That's right.
It was really fun to be able to help out in that way and really feel like I grew as a person.
Right. And I've never in my life had to use Robert's rules. And I did the course in the beginning,
Yep.
because of our Council of Governors, and then I was secretary, and sometimes you get put in a role and it challenges you because you don't I've never done it before, right? So you don't know what you don't know, and then you are put in the role or you volunteer for a role, and then it's like, "Okay, now you have to do this, this, and this," and it's like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta learn this because somebody's counting on me." So that I would agree about the Constitution and bylaws, and I've never read stuff like that so much before in my life as I have the last couple of years,
Mhm.
and learning Robert's rules and how to do it, and, at the last COG meeting,
Yeah.
I knew with all of those things, with all of the stuff that I had to read off in front of that group, I had a note on top of my paper that said, "Comes committee, um, n no, motion needed, only discussion." I had that written at the top, and then I screwed it up.
We're
Brian
human, it happens.
Brian corrected me, and then
Yep.
afterwards, he goes, I wasn't gonna say something, it was probably okay," and I said, "No, because, I don't know what I don't know,"
Mhm.
and but I said, "I will tell you, I do know this," and I had it written at the top of my paper so I wouldn't screw up, and I still screwed up. So,
Well, hey,
yeah.
they say to err is human, but that's an awesome it's a very awesome segue into the point of you're our new council chair-elect. We're very excited for you, and you're gonna get to have all that fun this next year of being the main figurehead that gets to point these next district governors in the right directions. Knowing
Well,
those things, you're on that right path. I think it's gonna be a really fun year.
I think it's gonna be a great year too, and if Robert's rules is all I screw up on, I've got a team behind me that's gonna correct me, so I'm okay with that.
Oh, yeah. Awesome, exactly. That really leads us really well into our next question. So, as you step into your role as council chair, how do you see this experience shaping how you approach that role, having been the district governor?
Well, first of all, I'm really humbled e and excited, that they chose me because any one of us could have done this job. We
Mhm.
are trained very well. We have the knowledge to be able to move this group forward. And so I feel very proud that they chose me, and I'm gonna absolutely work very hard for them. But also, I go into it with kind of a lot of confidence, knowing what we've been through, and so I know what they're gonna go through and what I can help them along on and keep them organized and help answer questions if they have it. Because really, outside of running the 4 meetings, I just need to be there for them. and
Exactly.
I've already had the experience, um, and like we talked about earlier, I guess if I don't know the answer, I certainly know where to find the answer for them. But I'm confident that I will lead them well and keep our multiple moving forward.
I think what's exciting about it is the fact, like you said, you have that team behind you. So you have your multiple guy team, your multiple coordinators. You have, especially like I said too, in your corner, you have all those amazing resources out in 5M4 that are always just a phone call away if you need additional support. So
Right.
it's something that helps exponentially when it comes to making sure that you help these district governors have a phenomenal year, and we know you will. And we're all very excited for you, but for you, what would you say that it is that you're most excited about going into this new year of 2026, 2027?
I think it's going to be a lot of fun to be a part of their year again,
Mhm.
and so I'm really looking forward to that, to be able to help them along or I feel good that I'm the person that they get to say if they have questions or concerns or whatever that they're going to come ask me. I feel very proud about that and confident that I'm going to get them going in the right direction or answer their question right, that I can be a part of their success. And so I'm really looking forward to that because I truly want to make sure that all 12 of them are have the tools that they need. I know they're gonna have the knowledge. I've been through the same training that they've been through, so it's gonna be good, but just to be that extra little help, I'm gonna work really hard for them to make sure that they feel successful.
Awesome. Well, and that's it. That, like you said, a lot of the biggest part is you're there for that push that they need. Maybe it's a small push, maybe it's a bigger push. It's just being there and hearing, because sometimes there's frustrations, and to be that person that they can be come to as a resource, as an ear, a listening ear is phenomenal. And I really do, like you said too. It's being that added bonus that they have so that they have that successful year. And I really do
Right.
think that having both gone through that training, that they are gonna have a phenomenal year. They're gonna I know that I'm probably as excited as you are, and I know they've gotta be doubly excited to have such a phenomenal incoming international president with Mark Lyon. He's a phenomenal Lion, and we're very excited for them.
Yeah, and I think we have a phenomenal president.
Oh, yeah, we do. AP has been
So all of
absolutely
them
so much
coming up
fun.
the pipeline, I mean, my goodness, it's
Yep.
everyone has such a great group that they have to deal with. And, I can remember sitting back thinking, I hope I was worried for the person that had to follow Brian Sheehan because he is so full of energy and
Firecracker.
oh my goodness. And then you get Dr. Patty Hill in there, and it's
Yeah,
like, my god, she's just as amazing. Oh,
she
it
was incredible.
everybody in the past, everybody coming forward, we all have people that we can learn from, and even being council chair-elect, I've watched Denise over the years or over this last year and how
Mhm.
she's guided us, and then I have past council chairs, Rob and Dennis, that I can learn from, and some of the other ones in the multiple, and
Mhm.
so just watching them, I've gained a lot from them, great things that I know that I can pass on to the next group as well.
That's awesome. It is. It's gonna, like I said, I think it truly is gonna be an amazing year. We were very fortunate, and I do think that a lot of our experience get to carry over into their year and make it just an absolutely awesome year. So that's awesome.
Yes.
It's interesting question, but we're gonna ask it. So when you hear the phrase "behind the roar," what does that mean to you now after this last year?
So I've been thinking about this a lot because I am super excited that there's just so much meaning behind this. And I'm excited for you to be doing the podcast. I'm really honored that I'm your first guest. But
Yeah.
I thought about it a lot and if you just think about the 3 words behind the roar, you have the person, and then you have what's going on. And
Mhm.
so I came up with a couple different things because the meaning of it can go in so many different directions. So I'm just gonna read them to you, and you can pick out the best ones that I came up with. So,
Okay.
behind the roar is service that happens by servant heroes, whether anyone is watching or not.
That's pretty
Or
good.
behind the roar is ordinary people doing extraordinary things that allows others to rise higher. Behind the roar is lives changed. Behind the roar is generations of lions serving their communities and leaving a legacy at home, making this world a better place. Behind the roar is rising higher, finding purpose, fueling friendships, and building confidence through connections with others. And, in one of our trainings, like I think it was the Mission 1.5, they
Mhm.
talked about the why. Why are you a lion? And working it from a different angle, like not just to come in and say, "Oh, this is what we do and we have meetings," but to get
Yeah.
to the heart of people, to explain to them, "This is why I'm a lion." Because absolutely everybody has a servant heart. And I put this as part of my PowerPoint that I used when I went out to visit clubs, but this behind the roar has a lot to do with that question, um, our why behind what our work is. It's the
Mhm.
compassion, our desire to give back, a belief that we can be part of something bigger than ourselves. So the last thing that I'm going to leave you with is behind the roar of a servant hero is our heart to do all that is possible to make sure others rise higher.
Ooh, that was good. I like that.
There you go.
Susan, I really appreciate you taking it was a great way to reflect on our year, and I think people are really going to connect with the conversation that we had today.
I think
Oh,
so too. I, I think I hope it encourages the next ones coming up, that they can get a little insight of how much fun they're going to have, and
mm,
and all that they're going to do and learn. I'm just really excited for them, knowing what we've gone through, that they have this
mhm.
opportunity, because it's gonna be super amazing for them.
It does, it's gonna be so cool. I'm really excited to be able to like like your discussion too. I think that behind the roar is what you wanna make of it. I think that it
Right.
is it is understanding that we do so much good within our community, and sometimes, I mean, and Brian used to say it best all the time. He says, "We're the best kept secret." Well, let's not keep it
Yeah,
that way.
right,
So we're
right.
gonna go behind the scenes of the amazing things that people do as lions and really shine a light on it is the plan, and that's
Yeah,
awesome. Awesome.
right.
Good.
Well,
Well,
thanks for all you do,
thank you,
because
and,
'cause you're a
thank
big
you for
piece
all
of
you
that,
do.
to get be able to get the word out there so others learn and step up. We need people to step up in leadership.
We definitely do, and hopefully shining that little bit of a light on what it is that we're doing and how big of an impact you can make off of something, as simple as your time
Right,
obviously, it sounds like a lot because it's your time, but
right.
realistically, it's well worth it. It's well worth the amount of time
It
spent.
is well worth the time.
Awesome. All right. To everybody listening, thank you for being here for the very first episode of Behind the Roar, because behind every title, every project, and every act of service, there's a story, and we're here to tell it.